Okay, so we are deep into analyzing sources. We've analyzed A, B, C, D, and E, and now it's time to look at F and G. F. This is a pretty cool picture, but it has a lot of questions, so we need to look at this. For one, if you look at the top, it says Spanish gunboats fire on Tenochtitlan. Okay, so here's a lot of questions there. Tenochtitlan is a city that, right, has water surrounding it and has walls surrounding it. And as you know, there was causeways and roads that went out of Tenochtitlan onto the mainland so that you could get in. However, Tenochtitlan is not on the seacoast, right? So all of these gunboats that the Spanish have in Lake Texcoco raises a big question of how those things got there, right? I see arrows flying, and I see horses, so I know that that's the Spanish. I see cannons, taking out Aztec people, right, in Tenochtitlan. There's a lot going on in this, but these boats really do, they kind of cause concern. I want to know how they got there from the ocean, which is, hundreds of miles away from Tenochtitlan. So that's my big question here. So when I'm analyzing sources, right, I can say it is clear that this is the war between the Spanish and Tenochtitlan. This is after Cortez has manipulated and deceived Montezuma, right? The Spanish have gunboats on Lake Texcoco, but how did they get there, right? How did they get their cannons, on these platforms, and are these platforms floating? Is this a causeway? Did they just blow up the road so that they couldn't get out? A lot of questions that go on here. So tell me what you see, tell me what you know, and then tell me what your questions are first for document F. That's the best way to do that. Let's look at document G. Document G says that this is a primary source. It's called Aztec Account of the Massacre at the Temple in May 1520, the Florentine Codex. So this is what it says. When the dance was loveliest, and when the song was linked to song, the Spaniards were seized with an urge to kill the celebrants. They all ran forward, armed as if for battle. They closed the entrances and passageways. Then they rushed into the sacred patio to slaughter the inhabitants. They attacked the man who was drumming and cut off his arms. And then they cut off his head and they rolled it across the floor. They attacked all the celebrants, stabbing them, spearing them, striking them with swords. Others they beheaded, or split their heads to pieces. The blood of the warrior flowed like warm and gathered into pools. Flowed like water and gathered into pools. They invaded every room, hunting and killing. So when you start analyzing this document, this should take you back to your prior knowledge of after Montezuma has been defied by Cortez. Cortez is now after him, and it's obvious that he's ready to take him out, right? So, document G, tell me, who is involved? What are the Spaniards doing to the Aztecs? Why are they doing this? You could easily summarize this and give me, say this is a very vivid picture and a very vivid account from the Aztecs of the massacre in the temple. Okay, don't hold back on, your description. If you need to, ask a question, right? What were the Aztecs doing to the Spaniards? What were they using as weapons and things like that? They make the Spaniards look really, really bad, but we don't know what it was like on the other side. So you have a question there where you can say, I'd like to know what the Spaniards, had said, what their account was of the massacre of the temple, kind of thing. So that would be how you analyze that document G. Let's go ahead and go on to document H. Document H is the massacre of the nobles. If you look at this picture, you can tell that they are in a room where the Spanish are definitely taking out the Aztec. So this picture could very much be the picture that they're using to portray document G. Okay, so If you look at this, you can make assumptions about weapons. You could talk about the numbers, like how the Aztec look like they're very much outnumbered. What are these things that are in the middle of the room? Are those drums? Were they playing music? Is that what was going on, in this room? You see that, like the heads and the arms. So this is like your visual of what is going on in document G. Document I. This is the image of the Mesoamerican infected with smallpox. This shows you kind of like what happens once they get smallpox. A compendium of information on Aztec people in history by Bernardito in the 16th century Spanish Franciscan missionary. So after the Aztecs had been defeated by the Spaniards, the Spaniards leave behind smallpox. And this image kind of shows what happened to those people after the fact. All right, it's time to go. If you have any more questions about how to analyze these sources, please come see me. Thank you very much.